हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अच्युताय नमः। ॐ अनन्ताय नमः। ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः। So we're still in the Shanti Pataha, the last bit. We saw this morning the purpose of invoking the grace of Devatas and offering salutations to Hiranyagarbha in the form of Vayuhu. So Hiranyagarbha is not away from us. At the same time, Hiranyagarbha is available for perception in the form of Vayu, from the standpoint of our eyes. We saw that. And why we pray here? So may that Hiranyagarbha Vidyarthinam Mam Vidya Samyojanena Avatu. May that Lord Hiranyagarbha protect me, the one who is aspiring for knowledge, with knowledge of reality. Bless me with knowledge of reality, thereby protect me. Then page number 82, we have to move on to that page. In our book, page number 82, but anyway. The next line, Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Ritam vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu. Okay, we have to move on to that line. So first, the prayer for protection of the student. The student is praying for protection of his own self, and he is saying, may you, Hiranyagarbha, protect me, the one who aspires for knowledge, with a knowledge of reality. You can protect me by blessing me with knowledge. That we saw. The next line, the prayer is specially for the teacher also. Yes, Tadvaktaramavatu. Tad means that. That stands for Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha. May that Lord Hiranyagarbha protect me with the knowledge of the truth and protect my teacher. So, Tadeva Brahma, same Lord. Vaktaram. Vaktaram means objective case of the word Vakta. Vaktru means one who speaks. Vaktru means speaker. So here the word speaker indicates the teacher. Acharyaha. Vaktaram Acharyam Avatu. May that Lord protect the teacher also. Vakta means speaker, one who speaks. So Vaktaram Avatu means Acharyam Avatu. May the Lord protect the teacher also. How can he protect the teacher? So, here Vaktrutva Samarthya Samyojanena. The teacher is supposed to have the knowledge of the truth already. The student has to be protected by blessing him with the knowledge of the truth. The teacher has to be protected by blessing him with the capacity to communicate. Vaktrutva Samarthyena Avatu. Vaktrutva Samarthya Samyojanena Avatu. Vaktrutva Samarthyam means the capability, the capacity to communicate. Vaktrutvam means what? Communication. Samarthya means capacity. Vaktrutva Samarthyam means the capacity to communicate. And Samyojanam, blessing, giving. So by blessing the teacher with a capacity to communicate, may that Lord protect him. And again, Avatu Mam, Avatu Vaktaram iti Punarvachanam Adarartham. So Avatu Mam, Avatu Vaktaram. What has been said, may that Lord protect me by blessing me with knowledge of the truth. May that Lord protect the teacher by blessing him with the capacity to communicate. Is it clear? So this repetition, twice it is said, repetition is for emphasis. Adarartham. Adarartham Punarvachanam. Punarvachanam means, Punaha means again, Vachanam speech. So Punarvachanam actually means repetition. Repeating the same sentence, repetition is for emphasizing. emphasizing the important, emphasizing the stressing the prayer. Adarartham, for emphasis. Then the mantra ends with the Shantihi 3 times. Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi iti. Is it clear? If I move on to the next page, page number 83, the Sanskrit word comes. Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi iti trivachanam. So, trirvachanam adhyatmika, adhibautika, adhidaivikanam vidya prapti upasarganam prashamanartham. Trirvachanam, trihi vachanam. Trihi vachanam means what? 3 times uttering Shantihi. Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi iti. Means 3 times, trihi vachanam. 3 times, trihi, 3 times uttering Shantihi. Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi is for what? He says, Prashamanartham. Prashamanam means removal, elimination, warding off. Prashamanartham, for eliminating or for the elimination of, for the removal of, upasarganam. Upasarganam prashamanartham, for the elimination of all obstacles. Not even one obstacle can escape. All obstacles. So, upasarganam prashamanartham. Upasarganam prashamanartham means for the resolution or for resolving, for elimination, for elimination or resolution of all obstacles, for resolving all the obstacles, for eliminating all the obstacles. Obstacles where? Obstacles in what? Obstacles in the pursuit of knowledge. Vidya prapti upasarganam. So, vidya prapto upasarganam prashamanartham. There are obstacles in our pursuit of knowledge. Vidya praptau upasargaha bhavanti. There are obstacles in attainment of knowledge. So, for the sake of eliminating those obstacles in the attainment of knowledge or in pursuit of knowledge, and the obstacle, this 3 times Shanti is uttered. Trihi vachanam, 3 times Shanti is uttered. So, these obstacles are of what? What obstacles? Obstacles arising from 3 different sources. Obstacles pertaining to, we say obstacles arising from, obstacles of Adhidaivika. First is coming Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika upasargaha. Adhibautika upasargaha. Adhidaivika upasargaha. So, for resolving, eliminating the obstacles arising from 3 different sources, Adhyatmika, Adhibautika, Adhidaivika, Trihi Vachanam, Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi iti. 3 times Shantihi is uttered. So, what are they? What are these Adhyatmika tapaha, Adhibautika tapaha, Adhidaivika tapaha? You all know very well. But still, you want explanation, you have to read page number 84. 83 towards the end and 84, page number 84, if you read, you get complete notes. What is Adhyatmika Shantihi? See, when obstacles are there, there is Ashantihi. Ashantihi is opposite of Shantihi. Whenever any obstacle arises in doing anything, there will be Ashantihi. Restlessness, agitation, disturbance, mental disturbance. It's called ashantihi. So ashanti nivrityartham, for removing the ashanti, if obstacles are removed, ashanti will go. Then there will be peace. Therefore, ashantihi. So when all the problems for which the one's own self is the source, and then ashantihi is caused by what? Adhyatmika ashantihi. So the adhyatmika ashantihi, the disturbance or obstacles, the disturbance caused by obstacles for which one's own self is the source, it is centered on one's own body and mind, then this is what? Adhyatmika ashantihi. And similarly, not yourself, but anybody else other than you, around you, also can become a source of obstacle. Then that obstacle, the ashantihi, or you can say tapaha. Ashantihi is another word for what? Tapaha. The pain, the disturbance, affliction caused by obstacles arising from the source, anything other than yourself, is adi bhautika. And like something like corona or natural calamity. It's not, nobody is responsible for this. Natural calamities cause the obstacles. Then it's called adi daivika tapaha. Adi daivika ashantihi. And for the removal of adhyatmika, adi bhautika, adi daivika ashantihi, we are uttering shantihi 3 times. This you all know very well. If you read page number 84 and 85, so until 85, if you read, you can understand from where on I can tell you. A lot of homework has become more now. Page number, how much homework have now? 67 onwards. Okay? 67 only literal meanings are given. Literal meanings of the entire mantra is given in page number 867. 68 onwards, 68, 69, 60, then onwards until 92. No, not 92. Yeah, 91. Okay? Until 91. Not even 91, 90. No. Very good. 85 only. Until 85. Okay? The whole Shanti Mantra meaning is thoroughly covered in covered until page number 85. 67 onwards, 85. Shanti Pata is covered. Now, the homework is please go through. And if you have any doubt anywhere, because the book itself is very elaborately expressive, I have not done too much. I have done enough. I have not done less also. Definitely I have done enough. Go through that. If you have any doubts in those pages, please come back and ask me. The italicized, the Sanskrit words are in italicized letters. And if you find any difficulty, you can always ask me. You put all the English words together, you'll get the complete meaning. Okay, you will not miss anything here. Now, by Bhagavan's grace, we completed the Shankara's Bhashyam on Shanti Pataha. Now we are entering into the actual. The Shanti Pataha itself covers the first Anuvakaha of the first chapter, which is Sikshavalli. Do you remember that? The Sikshavalli, first chapter, which begins with the word Siksha later on. And in the first Anuvakaha, for the first section, Shanti Pataha itself forms the first section. Therefore, now we are entering into the second chapter, section of the Sikshavalli. Okay. You have to remember, Sikshavalli is also coming after the 6 chapters of Taittiriya Aranyakam. Therefore, still here also, Brahma Vidya is not discussed. We saw very well. We already have studied the Moola Grantha. There are only the disciplines and upasanas are discussed here. And as part of the disciplines which are required for understanding the teaching, the first, in the second section, the small section, is called Sikshadhyayaha. The whole chapter is called Sikshadhyayaha because it begins with the word Siksha. Siksha. And what is that Siksha? Let us read the first, only one sentence. The second Anuvakaha consists of only one sentence. And it's a small, brief, the Anuvakaha, small Anuvakaha. In one sentence, Upanishad briefly mentions the science of phonetics, the science of pronunciation of letters, science of pronunciation, known as science of phonetics, otherwise known as Siksha. Siksha Shastram. Siksha is a separate Shastram, the discipline. In fact, the letter she may be short. She, not she. Siksha Shastram. The science of phonetics. The science of pronunciation. It's called Siksha Shastram. And that Siksha Shastram, the importance of Siksha Shastram is not, it's briefly mentioned here, but not elaborately discussed. Why not elaborately discussed? Because subject matter of the Upanishad is not phonetics. Subject matter of the Upanishad is Brahma Vidya. We are all studying Upanishad because we are interested in Brahma Vidya. Therefore, Siksha is not elaborately, the science of phonetics is not elaborately discussed here. Briefly mentioned, just mentioned. But the brief mention of science of phonetics also is to emphasize the importance of this knowledge, discipline. Brief, but still clear, very clear. Briefly mentioned, but very clearly, thoroughly mentioned. Science of phonetics, briefly mentioned, but thoroughly, clearly mentioned. And we are going to see Shankara Bhagavad makes it very clear for us. Siksham Vyaakhyasyamaha. Fast now. Not like in the last month, okay? Siksham Vyaakhyasyamaha Varnaswaraha Matrabalam Samasantanaha Ityuktasi Ikshadhyayaha. Okay, let me wait for you. See, only one line today, okay? Siksham Vyaakhyasyamaha Vyaakhyasyamaha Varnaswaraha Matrabalam Samasantanaha Ityuktasi Ikshadhyayaha. Ityuktasi Ikshadhyayaha. Iti Dvitiyaha Anuvakaha. Only this particular line forms the second section. Now, Shankara Bhagavad writes his commentary in page number 89. First he says, here, why science of phonetics, science of pronunciation, known as Siksha, is introduced or mentioned in this chapter. It is a Upanishad book. Why should Upanishad mention this? That is said here. Arthajnana pradhanatvat Upanishadaha Granthapate Yatno Paramaha Mabhud iti Sikshadhyayaha Arabhyate. In this, Shankaracharya says, Sikshadhyayaha is very, in this first chapter entitled as Sikshadhyayaha, the discipline of Siksha, the science of phonetics is introduced or mentioned, Arabhyate. Why? Why it is introduced here? Why it is begun here? Because it is very important for the students of Veda to learn the correct pronunciation. So what if we do not learn the correct pronunciation, what are we going to lose? All these questions people will ask. Okay? But those in Vedic period, there was no press, there was no printing, there was no book, there were not even manuscripts. The teaching was maintained through oral tradition. Everything was given orally. So the students have to listen to everything and learn everything, understand everything, retain everything, assimilate everything, only by listening. So when the words are pronounced, letters are pronounced, the pronunciation must be proper, correct pronunciation. If the pronunciation goes wrong, what will happen? The words will become incorrect. The words are incorrect means the meanings also will become incorrect. The meanings also will become incorrect means ultimately the tatparyam, the message that we need to, what Upanishad has to convey, what we need to receive, that message we will lose. The communication is always important, isn't it? So if we should make, the purpose of studying the Upanishad should serve means the message conveyed by the Upanishad must be received properly. If we should not lose the tatparyam of the teaching, we should get the tatparyam of the teaching, we should benefit from the teaching means we must get the correct message, for which we must have proper understanding. For proper understanding, we must have the proper meanings of the words, for which the words must be correct words. The words have to be correct, pronunciation must be correct also. Is it clear? Therefore, it's very important for one to understand the science of pronunciation, not just the science of pronunciation alone. Along with that, there are 6 factors in terms of 6 topics. They're all allied factors, allied sciences, disciplines. All of them must be understood so that the study of the Veda will be proper. Is it clear? Shankaracharya introduces this. Somebody asked the question, why Upanishad is introducing one line, but still why should Upanishad mention about the Siksha at all here? We are not interested in science of phonetics. Who cares how the pronunciation should be? I want Brahma Vidya. Means it is not overnight business. When you accept Veda Shastram as the pramanam, as a means of knowledge, it must be studied. Vedanta must be studied systematically, step by step, gradually, regularly. Only then all these things put together will bless us with the clarity. Therefore, it is important to have the knowledge of science of pronunciation also. For that purpose, Upanishad is introducing Siksha. Okay, we'll see that here. Arthajnana pradhanatvat Upanishadaha. Arthajnanam is pradhanam. What does it mean? Arthajnana pradhanam means what? Understanding the meaning of the words of Upanishad is very important for us. What is the purpose? What is most important for us is understanding the correct meaning of the Upanishadic words. Is it clear? Arthajnanam eva pradhanam. In the study of Upanishads, what is pradhanam? What is important? What is the most prominent thing? The most important thing studying the Upanishad is understanding the meanings. Arthajnana pradhanam. Arthajnana pradhanatvat Upanishadaha. As Upanishad has the importance of being understood correctly, Grantha Pathe. Grantha Pataha means, Grantaha means text. Pataha, here the word Pataha literally means lesson. Here it should be taken as recitation or chanting. Grantha Pathe, in chanting the text. In chanting the mantras contained in the text, is called Grantha Pataha. Chanting of the mantras contained in the text is said to be Grantha Pataha. So, Grantha Pathe, in chanting the mantras of the text, Grantaha means text, Pataha means chanting or recitation. In reciting, in chanting the mantras contained in the text, Yatnoparamaha, Yatne Uparamaha. Yatna Uparamaha, Yatnaha means effort. Uparamaha means what? Indifference. It's okay. It's okay. If I don't chant correctly, so what? There's such an indifference in effort in pronouncing, in chanting the text. I only want to know the contents. I'm not interested in chanting. There are many people who say that also. It's for us, I'm saying. It's for people when they come, we have to only tell them very important lesson. Sometimes people are depending upon their understanding. We have to convey the message that is more important. But still, as students of the Shastram, it's also very important to know this. We should not be indifferent in making efforts to chant it correctly. Okay? In order to avoid the indifference in making efforts to chant correctly, okay, Mabhut, let there not be. Mabhut means let there not be any indifference in effort in reciting the mantras correctly. So, which means one must really pay attention to, give importance for reciting the mantras correctly. We must really pay importance, we must really pay attention to the chanting of the mantras correctly. So that the mantras are chanted, pronounced, letters are pronounced correctly, chanted correctly. The pronunciation must be proper, then the chanting will be proper, then the words will be proper, then the meanings also can be understood correctly. Otherwise, when the letters pronunciation goes wrong, the chanting will go wrong, words will change, the meanings will change, and finally we lose. The chanting must be, we must also pay attention to the swaras, also matras. The matra we must pay, the matra means what? The time, the unit of time taken for pronouncing certain letters in the mantras. Short or long or prolongated. Then balam. Balam means prayatna viseshaha. We must definitely, if a gha is there, it must be gha. Danam, giving. Dharmaha, dharma. Danam, dharmaha. Papam, bhavaha. Papam, bhavaha. Difference. There we must pay attention to the emphasis. Balam, prayatna means emphasis. On which sound must be emphasized how. Now, sama. Sama is the next factor we have to look into. Sama means, he says, Varnanam madhyama vritya ucharanam. Pronouncing the letters without being very fast, without being too very slow, no, in the middle pace. So, Shankara Bhagavad writes actually, what he says, Madhyama Vritya Ucharanam. When you're chanting the mantras for the purpose of praying, when you're praying, when doing your satsang time, praying or during time of rich performance of a ritual, how the mantra should be chanted. Madhyama Vritya Ucharanam. The mantra should not be chanted too fast, chanted too slowly also. Suppose when a student wants to practice, memorize the mantras, then he can practice fast. Only for memorizing. Only for memorizing the mantras, when you sit and learn, repeat and repeat and repeat. No? Those days, all the mantras have to be heard, understood, and they go back and memorize. The whole book should go to the head. I told you already. Every student must have the book memorized first. Then only they will qualify to study the meaning of the words. Adhyayanam first, Mimamsa second. So how can they memorize? Repeat. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Vavatu. Until they memorize. Isn't it? Like that, memorizing. When they sit and memorize, that time they can be fast. No problem. But when the same after memorizing, when they chant for the sake of performing a ritual or performing a puja, then the chanting must be in mediums, the pace. They should not be too fast, should be too slow also. But when the teacher is teaching in the class, he must be slow. Not even then, the teacher need not be even not in the Madhyama Vritya, no? Manda Vritya. Because the teacher has the responsibility of making the student learn the words correctly, then the chanting must be very slow during the teaching. After learning to chant correctly, when chanting for the sake of performing a ritual or puja, then it must be chanted the middle pace. Okay. This is called Varnanam Madhyama Vritya Ucharanam. Which means there must be uniformity of pace in chanting. The uniformity in pace of chanting of the letters. Maintaining the uniform pace of chanting of letters is sama. Which means some mantras slowly, some mantras very fast. Not like that. All the mantras must be chanted. How? Maintaining the uniform pace of chanting of all letters. All the mantras must be chanted uniformly. Then that's called samata. Sama is also means samata. Means maintaining the uniformity in pace of chanting of the letters. Okay. Then santanaha. What is santanaha? Santanaha, Shankara Bhagavad writes, santatihi. Santanaha, masculine noun. Santatihi, feminine noun. Same word. He didn't give anything extra. He only mentioned santanaha is equal to santatihi. And one more word he mentions, samhita ityarthaha. Santanaha means santatihi. Santatihi means samhita ityarthaha. That's all he says. So what does it mean? Santatihi santanaha means combination of letters. Let me tell you. In mantras, always the letters, one letter comes following another letter closely. In mantras, of course, in any language, in any word, one letter comes following another letter closely. Then words also, one word comes following another word closely. So when these letters come closely following one another, words come together also closely, then combine, they combine. Combine and convey the meaning. Then when the letters come, sometimes some changes happen. It's called combination of letters, sandhihi. And certain rules are there, rules we have to follow in combination of letters. In English language, there's no such a thing called combination of letters. In English, there are only combination of words. Shabdanam sandhihi is there. The words are combined, but there's no combination of letters in English language. And because it's a combination of letters also, the letters come together, they become combined, sometimes certain changes also happen. So based on the changes happening, then rules are followed, sandhi rules. Okay, and we must take care of it, we must know that. So in forming compounds, when the prefix joins the root, or when the verbs are formed, nouns are formed, participles are formed, or words are joined, the compounds are formed, all those occasions, definitely there happens the combination of letters. And the changes also happen. And what change should happen? When the two vowels come together, what change should happen? When the vowel and the two consonants come together, what change should happen? And if the visarga comes in between, what change should happen? So based on this combination of letters, then rules are there, known as sandhi rules. It's called combination of letters. If we remember, pay attention to all these things, then our chanting will be proper chanting. Then the words will be correct words. And the meanings also will not change. Then we will be able to get the actual message conveyed by the mantras. Is it clear? So Upanishad does not really give a big discussion here, but only it gives a very brief discussion. Very briefly it mentions, but still thoroughly mentions. All the important aspects are mentioned here. Varnaha, swaraha, matraha, matra, balam, sama, santanam. Only these are the 6 topics, allied topics, which come under the discipline of science of pronunciation, phonetics, known as Siksha Shastram. It's a big discipline, but we are not studying the whole Shastram. Upanishad just mentions. You need not become a great scholar in that Siksha Shastram. At least pay attention to these factors when you are chanting. And now what should you do? Homework. Page number 92, 93, 94, 95, 96 also, 97 also, 98. Now 100 pages you have for homework. Totally. I mean, not to miss it. See, you have got everything here. Just if you go back, if I didn't, because this book is there, I'm also conscious not to miss. I want to quickly go to Brahmanandavalli. So I didn't want to miss. Swamiji said first chapters, I just started doing it. So we will cover it. At least now you know what is here. So better read this. You have complete idea of what you need to know about this each line. Will you do that? Okay. So when will you find time to read that? You ask Swamiji. And find some time. So read so that before at least in 2 3 days we come back. Any doubts you have, I can clarify this. Definitely I can give half an hour break for you to ask me questions. To clarify the doubts in what is being read here. Suppose if everything is very clear, if at all you have any doubt because of when you read Sanskrit words, italicized letters, or any other meaning confusion, or if you find anything different from what I said, or what I say is different from what is being here, mostly it won't be. I might use different verbs sometimes. Actually, those words also I heard from Swamiji only. So you can always come back and ask me the doubts, clarify your doubts, so that you don't have you have clear understanding. Okay. So with the last bit of this second Anuvaka Bhashyam, Yeshaha hi sikshitavyorthaha. Yeshaha hi sikshitavyaha arthaha. Yeshaha means this. Shankaracharya says, it's not nothing about to do with the mantra here. He mentions regarding the same topic. Sikshitavyaha arthaha. This siksha, this topic of siksha, the discipline of siksha, consisting of 6 factors or 6 topics in terms of varnaha, swaraha, matra, balam, sama, santanaha. These 6 topics, this siksha, this discipline definitely should be taught, must be taught. Therefore, it is mentioned here. Siksha yasmin adhyaye. This discipline of science of phonetics is discussed in the second chapter. In the first chapter. Therefore, the chapter itself is known as Sikshadhyayaha. Is it clear? This chapter, the first chapter, is known, given the title as Sikshadhyayaha, not only because it begins with the word Siksha, because the discipline of Siksha, in terms of science of phonetics, is mentioned and discussed here. Therefore, this chapter itself is known as Sikshadhyayaha. Iti evam uktaha means this is what has been said by my teachers. He doesn't say, I am telling this. This is what has been said before. The teachers who would have commented upon this mantra, they must have told this. Therefore, he says, this is what has been said before. Uktaha iti upasamhararthaha. By saying this, he concludes his commentary on this second section. Finished? Clean? Any doubts here? Now we are moving on to the third section. The third section, you know very well. So, first section consists of the Shanti Pataha. Second section, briefly, in the second section, the discipline of science of phonetics is briefly mentioned and touched. At the same time, all 6 topics are thoroughly explained. And the third section, it needs turning off. Okay. So, be careful. Okay. The third section, Tritiyaha Anuvakaha, is going to, we have seen this also in Moola Grantha Patanam. The discipline of meditation is introduced here. And you saw 5 meditations are presented in Sikshavalli. The first meditation is Samhita Upasanam, is going to be presented. And before even beginning the topic of meditation, there's a prayer. That the 2 lines of the prayer consisting of 2 lines. Sahanau yashaha, sahanau yashaha, sahanau brahma varchasam, sahanau brahma varchasam, athatasagam hitaya upanishadam vyaakhyasyamaha. अथातस्सगं हिताया उपनिषदं व्याख्यास्यामः पञ्चस्वधिकरणेषु अधिलोकमधिज्योतिषमधिविद्यमधिप्रजमध्यात्मम् अधिलोकमधिज्योतिषमधिविद्यमधिप्रजमध्यात्मं तामहासगं हिता इत्याचक्षते तामहासगं हिता इत्याचक्षते. I'm going to explain only the first 2 lines, then stop. Then time for questions and answers. Saha nau yashaha, saha nau brahma varchasam. Those 2 lines actually convey the prayer. Now, Shankaracharya writes his commentary, where in page number 100. So, Sahanau Yashaha, Sahanau Brahma Varchasam. These 2 lines convey the prayer. As I said, Saha together, now us. Yashaha. The sentence, there's no complete sentence. Even though there's a prayer, the sentence is not complete. It's not a complete sentence. Saha together, now both of us. Yashaha, fame. Saha together, now both of us together. Yashaha, fame. Saha again together, now both of us. Brahma Varchasam, brilliance. We know that. So what it means is a general prayer. And before even starting the Upanishad, what Upanishad here? This particular section of the Upanishad, the 3rd section of the Upanishad, the student here expresses his prayer, conveys his prayer. And because the topic of this section is going to be meditation, which means the student, he says, may the teacher and the student and the teacher and the student have fame. Who is doing this prayer? The student is mainly doing the prayer, but the teacher is also joining the prayer. The teacher and the student, both of them are doing the prayer, but mainly, the prayer is done by the student. And what he is praying for? So may both of us have the fame, glory, popularity, And his name, fame, and popularity which we have should come to us through knowledge. So may we both deserve, may we both be eligible to have that fame. That is the thing. Here, the student is a Vedic student. So he cannot crave for cheap fame. He has made this genuine prayer. May we both deserve the fame. So may we both have the fame through knowledge. So by practicing this, may we practice this meditation. So whatever fame, the knowledge, the Brahma Varchas that we have to have, may all of us, all these things bring fame to us. And Brahma Varchasam. Brahma Varchasam, as I already explained to you, the facial glow, the brilliance one has as a result of living a clean, disciplined life, being given to the practice of meditation, chanting of mantras. That is Brahma Varchas. So here, see, there is something called Grantha Ucharanam. Grantha Ucharanam means what? Grantha, the text. Recitation of the text or reciting the mantras is Ucharanam. Then once you keep on reciting, what happens? You memorize the mantras. When the mantras are memorized, then Grantha Dharanam or Grahanam. Then retention of mantras in the mind. Grantha Ucharanam, or you can say mantra Ucharanam, mantra Dharanam, mantra Grahanam. Then you can say, as a result of repeatedly reciting, memorizing, retaining, also you have what? Knowledge of the mantras. Mantra Jnanam, mantra Ucharanam, mantra Grahanam, mantra or Dharanam, mantra Jnanam. You can say mantra, or you can say also Grantha. Grantha means a text. All these things will really bless the student with what? Varchas. Brahma Varchas will come. And not only that, it also brings fame for the person. So may we both have that fame and Brahma Varchas. This is the prayer first, the 2 lines. Sahanau Yashaha Sahanau Brahma Varchasam. And for which Shankara Bhagavad-pada now writes his commentary, and how he introduces, let us see here. Adhuna Samhita Samhitopanishaduthyate. Now Adhuna means now. Now means what? After having discussed about the science of pronunciation, now we are moving on to the next topic of Samhita Upanishad. Now we are moving on to the next topic of Samhita Upanishad. Here, what is Samhita? Just now we understood Samhita means the close proximity of letters, combination of letters. Let us come together. And here, the meditation the Upanishad is going to introduce is known as Samhita Upasanam. Samhitopasanam or Samhita Upasanam. Why the meditation is known as Samhita Upasanam? Because meditation is going to be upon, of course, Devatas. What will be the object of meditation? The object of meditation, of course, definitely is Bhagavan, Ishvaraha. Or Ishvara in the form of Devatas. Always object of meditation must be Devatas. Bhagavan in the form of Devatas or Bhagavan. Ishvara must be the object of meditation. But it is difficult to meditate upon the Devatas or Ishvara. Therefore, we need what? Some Alambanam symbol. And here, we are going to take the taking the combination of letters, taking the combination of letters as alambanam, invoking the devatas upon those combination of letters is called samhita upasanam. Is it clear now? We are going to take in this upasanam, the combination of letters are taken as symbols upon which the devatas are going to be invoked. So, invoking the devatas upon the combination of letters is known as samhita upasanam. Samhita means combination of letters, which we have already seen, and for which Shankara Bhagavad himself gives an example. Okay. Okay, before we go to the actual, let us go to the next, what he talks about is first mantra. If we move on to page number 102, what is Shankara's first line? Aduna samhitopasanam samhitopanishad uchyate. Now it is going to be discussed. What is going to be discussed now? Meditation upon this combination of letters. But first he comments upon the prayer. Tatra samhitadyupanishad parignyana nimittam samhitadyupanishad parignyana nimittam yadyashaha prapyate tat tanna now avayoho sishyacharyayoho sahayeva sahaivastu. Which means he says, he comments upon the first line, the prayer. In page number 102, Shankara Bhagavad comments upon the prayer. I got it? Prayer is, this is first commentary. Samhitadi Upanishad Parignyana Nimittam Yad Yashaha Prapyate. See, whatever fame is going to be gained, Yad Yashaha Prapyate, whatever fame is going to be gained as a result of practicing this meditation, all practicing the meditations such as Samhita Upasana, not only this Upasana, Samhita Adi Upanishad. The word Upanishad actually here means Upasanam. Okay, don't forget. The word Upanishad also means meditation in this context. By practicing the meditations such as Samhita Upasanam, by practicing upasanams such as Samhita Upasanam, whatever fame is going to be gained, definitely when you practice seriously meditation, that there must be phalam, there must be benefit. It will contribute for the accomplishment of fame. So whatever fame is gained, tat now avayoho sishya acharyayoho sahayeva astu. May we both have fame. The student is always including the teacher. Teacher must be having the fame. But still, may we both have the fame gained as a result of practicing these meditations such as Samhita Upasanam. Tannimittancha yad brahmavarchasam tejaha taccha sahayeva astu iti sishya vachanam ashihi. Shankaracharya makes it very clear. No, it is only student's prayer. Teach is not teacher's prayer, it's a student's prayer. He says, it says Sishya Vachanam. Sishya Vachanam means what? Student's Vachanam. Student's prayer. What is the student praying for now? He says, whatever fame is going to be gained, whatever brilliance, that facial brilliance we can have as a result of practicing meditations, all the meditations beginning with such as Samhita Upasanam, may that fame and brilliance, may both the teacher and the taught, may we both of us have. May we both have. Is it clear? That's all. Nothing much. Now homework. 102, 103, 104. And then in 104, towards the end of the page, Shankara Bhagavad mentions why this prayer is only on the part of the student, not on the part of the teacher. Even though this prayer is done by both of them, mainly the prayer is done by the student. The student alone is praying, may both of us deserve the fame and brilliance. May both of us have fame and brilliance. As a result of practicing all the meditations, including Samhitopasanam. Why the student is praying? Shankaracharya is saying, Sishyasya hi akritarthatvat prarthana upapadyate. It is possible, it is appropriate for the student. It is possible, it's appropriate on the part of the student to have this prayer. Why? The student has yet to accomplish knowledge. The student has yet to accomplish knowledge. He has yet to enjoy the benefit of the knowledge. The student has yet to achieve things. Therefore, the prayer is appropriate only for the student. Whereas, na acharyasya kritarthatvat. This prayer is not on the part of the teacher, because the teacher is already an accomplished person. The teacher need not become famous anymore, need not attain brilliance anymore. He must have already attained brilliance and fame, because he is already a person of accomplishment. Kritarthatvat. I wanted to know this expression. Kritarthaha means Kritarthaha means the person of accomplishment. One who has accomplished already is known as Kritarthaha. The one, Kritarthatvam means having the sense of fulfillment. The teacher is already Kritarthaha. He is already accomplished person. Therefore, he need not pray for fame and brilliance. Whereas the student is Akritarthaha. The student has yet to accomplish. He has not yet accomplished. Therefore, the student has to pray. For the student does not have sense of fulfillment, because he has yet to achieve things in life. Therefore, this prayer is appropriate on the part of the student. Who says this? Shankaracharya explains this. Because Acharyaha Kritarthaha, the teacher is already a person of accomplishment, achievement, person of fulfillment. So he need not pray for fame and brilliance, Brahmavarchas. So it's appropriate for the student to pray, because he is still Akritarthaha, he is not yet accomplished. Okay, having said this much, he is going to start, Bhashyakara is going to continue, but I'm going to stop here. Okay? Any doubts you have until now what I said? The next topic will start fresh tomorrow morning. Any doubts you have? Any questions? You can feel free. Don't worry about anything. Any questions you can ask. Because next topic is going to start. See, In this third section, main topic is going to be Samhita Upasanam, meditation upon the combination of letters. What does it mean? All the different devatas are going to be invoked upon these samhitas, combination of letters, which means the letters are not objects of meditation. The letters are symbols in which devatas are going to be invoked. Symbols are known as alambanani, and the devatas are going to be invoked. So, what is the purpose of meditation? And all Shankaracharya is going to explain, we'll see later on. But before even entering the topic of meditation, in the very opening of the Anuvaka section itself, there are two sentences conveying, not complete sentences, there are two prayers. The prayer of a student. The teacher and the student, both of them together recite this mantra, expressing their prayer. But Shankaracharya says this prayer, even though both of them are doing the prayer, this prayer is of the student only. Because the student is still akrita arthaha. The teacher is kritarthaha. Kritartha means already he is accomplished, achieved. Therefore, the teacher need not pray for brilliance and fame. He is already person of fulfillment. The student happens to be akritartha, he expresses his prayer. And he says, we are going to practice this meditation. There are so many other meditations are also going to be mentioned in the same text. By practicing all the meditations, including this first meditation in terms of Samhita Upasanam, whatever fame is gained, whatever brilliance is going to be gained, may that brilliance and fame be gained by both of us. Sishya acharyayoho bhavatu. That's his prayer. This Shankaracharya makes it very clear. That much alone is his commentary. The rest of the things we have learned, discussed a lot in our original text class. I'm not going into the details of those things. But tomorrow anyway Upasanam, you will be reminded of the Upasanam. Is it better now? See, without having learned the text, if you started doing the Bhashyam, you would go out of the head, isn't it? Now you know what is Upasanam, what is Alambanam, what are the combination of letters. Now read the commentary easy. Okay, now doubts. Questions. Varnaha, Matra, Swaraha, Balam, Sama, Santanaha, no doubts. Good. Because there, we don't have much commentary there on those. She just mentions what it is. Even the mention, see, very important. Even the just mention, it's only mention of the Siksha, the topic of Siksha, consisting of 6 subtopics or 6 factors. Even the mention, all of them are mentioned. And Shankara makes it very clear. The Upanishad, one line of his commentary is very clear. What does he say there? One line, he says, Artha-jnana pradhanatvat Upanishadaha. Is one line. Artha-jnana pradhanatvat Upanishadaha. Upanishad enjoys the status of being the meanings, having the meanings to be understood. Upanishad's meanings should be understood. Understanding of the meaning of the Upanishad is very important. And for understanding is dependent on understanding, correct understanding of exact meaning of the words conveyed by the Upanishad is dependent on, the correct understanding of the words. The words The meaning can be understood correctly only if the words are understood correctly. If the words have to be understood correctly, the words must be chanted correctly. The words have to be chanted correctly, and definitely one must have this understanding where hrasvaha, which swara should be there, which matra should be there, which emphasis must be there. Therefore, this knowledge of all these 6 factors is important. Just by mentioning it, and the person moves on, doesn't elaborate on the topic, then you mention it. Even though mentioned, still it thoroughly mentions. All 6 are brought to light. Is it clear? Okay. That's all. Today's class is over. Any questions if you have, you can ask. The next topic, Upasana, will start tomorrow morning. Because I was taking all your time, not allowing you to ask questions. So I decided today. If we start also, it will be fresh tomorrow, Samhitopasanam. No questions? Okay, were you able to read a few pages at least? And those pages, how did you find? Thorough. Yeah, so no doubts there, isn't it? Whatever you have read, very clear. So it'd be nice if you can keep pace. I know too many pages. I did go through glassing, even if you go through once just before the class, after the class, after I teach, if you go back and read those pages, cover those pages, which number of pages discuss which subject matter. Now, the pages I mentioned today, they have all only Shantipata. Then now we have covered like extra pages. That is for just a prayer, nothing much. Like that, if you follow, keep pace with my teaching, then you will be thorough with this text. And we will have more time only for Brahmanandavalli. There, real Sthanu Nikanana Nyaya. We have to really see that after making the, we first dig a hole and put the stick, post, and then before putting the pandal, it should not be shaky. It should be firm, strong. So for which, and you have to put really carefully sand or soil or small stones or big stones and hitting at every, put little bit, hit. So that it becomes as firm, unshakable, strong. Sthanu Nikanana Nyaya. In fact, Mananam and Nididhyasnam, Mananam itself is for what? It's based on Sthanu Nikanana Nyaya. Teaching again. So for Shravanam and Mananam, these 2 disciplines must be done with the help of the teacher. But Nididhyasanam, you do not need teacher. Then you can do it yourself. Nididhyasanam can be done independently if you've already done Shravanam and Mananam with the help of the teacher. No, I'm straightway going to Nididhyasanam. No Shravanam and Mananam means if somebody comes and tells you, you can smile and have thank you very much. Wish you all the best. And tell them, and you know what can they meditate upon. What can be contemplation, isn't it? No question? Today Bhavanaji has gone out. She didn't come back. She didn't come back today. That's good. Two days she went and came back, Swamiji. 2 days. 2 days she came back. Today she made it. Yeah, yes, Swamiji. 2 days she went, Swamiji. And one day she went, she about to get her boarding passes, she came back. And next day she got her boarding passes, she went to the security, she was about to board the flight, and because the ESTA got delayed. The ESTA is actually becomes invalid in every 2 hours. So you have to get an ESTA. It's only for UK European citizens. They need, people like me, so no problem, because we have proper long visa. But they have ESTA, which is also something like valid, but it's not stamped on the passport, Swamiji. It's some form. And they supposed, she already had it, which she was valid for 2 years or something like that. And then, but this one now they cancelled all the ESTAs, and every time you have to apply for it, and for which you have to fill so many things you have to fill application form, and the ESTA comes. And the ESTA only stays for 2 hours. By the time she gets the ESTA, she goes through all the things. It goes 2 hours goes, and it becomes because it took so long how to get the ticket first confirmed. How to confirm the ticket here, she went rushing. By the time she got the ESTA and she went to the gate, time got delayed, flight went away. And today she worked her very properly. Luckily flight was 3 o'clock, and lot of things. So I think things fell in place. So she told me today she was at the gate waiting earlier, and she was okay, and she must have left. She didn't come back, so that's the proof. 2 class I was sitting here, she was coming back. So anyway, sometimes these are all lessons. We should not panic, and there's no point in getting stressed. I know the people who go through the situation, they must be getting stressed, but otherwise also, all these things are possible. This is what Jnanam will prepare you to remain calm in any worst situation. This is called weakening of the afflictions caused by prarabdha karma phalam. Of course they're happening, afflictions are there, but your objective means you are still free. Your peace is maintained, not disturbed. That doesn't mean that outside there's no problem. Problems are there. Still you can remain undisturbed. Otherwise. Anyway, so we'll see tomorrow, okay? Come with questions. Swamiji, come with questions if you have. No questions today? Yeah, please ask. We have 5 more minutes.
Swamiji, in the beginning of the book, Swami Dayananda Ji is talking about the Anubandha Chatushtaya. And there, in the last one, the Sambandha, is Swamiji is talking about the connection between the book and the subject matter. So I was not sure what he meant by the book.
The book means the text, subject matter. The book. A book means the words and their meanings.
Okay, just the words. Okay.
I mentioned in the class that one topic we didn't elaborate on it. The rest I have explained.
Okay. I have a few other questions, but maybe longer answers. It can be different.
Okay, please, tomorrow, please ask me first time, you bring all the questions. Okay. I'll answer you. Okay?
Thank you.
Please feel free, Swamiji. Please feel free to ask me questions. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Why I said Shanti? Because some people who are in a hurry to go to arrange something, they can go. That's why I waited, Samji. Actually, I discussed also Anubandha Chatushtayam, the 4 factors involved in the text. We discussed why. To differentiate, to understand the difference between 2 different subject matters of the same Veda. Even though Veda is one text, it consists of 2 different texts, 2 different shastrams. Because Anubandha Chatushtayam is different, which means the purpose it serves is different. The person for whose sake it is discussed is different. Subject matter itself is different. The benefit of the knowledge also is different. You have to understand for what to know. Yes, it's the whole Veda. The aim of the entire Veda is to help a person attain moksha. But the first part is not for the attainment of moksha. First part is only to prepare the individual mentally for knowledge, which is moksha. The second part alone is for the attainment of knowledge. So there the Karmakandis have different view. So he has to start there onwards. As the purpose of discussing those 4 factors involved in writing a text in any textbook. So otherwise, there's nothing. When he says the revealer revealed, the book means the book actually the words. What is the book? The text means the original words of the Shastram. The meaning conveyed by the Shastram, those words. That's called Pratipadaka Pratipadya Sambandha. For example, if I say book, that is Pratipadakam, revealer. What is revealed by the word book? Pratipadyam. Connection. The connection between the word and its meaning. That's what. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Start tomorrow.